My name is Nilson Ramirez. In case you don't know me or visiting, I lead the campus. Fantastic, spectacular campus ministry here in Manhattan. And very excited to be here with you today. I'd like to address the big sweaty elephant in the room. And that is that it's very cold in here. Oh, you don't agree with that? No? There's something that I've been observing, testing, and surmising my theory to turn into fact or law on since I was in Gainesville, Florida. And I noticed it once, and I said, I'm going to keep looking for it. And it has been true for the last 6 years that I've looked for it. And that is that, brothers, when you go to give a hug to a sister, the first thing she will do is look at your armpits. Now that I have said that, every sister here is going to try very hard not to do that. But in a few weeks, when they forget, and you go to give a sister a hug, just look at her eyes. That is exactly where it's going to go. Today would be an understandable day to do so. It is Casual Sunday. If you did not get the memo, I am very sorry. As you can tell, I'm wearing shorts. I normally do not do that when I preach on a Sunday, but I think the event calls for it. And so if you need to be closer to a fan, I completely understand. Please move there. But this is unique circumstances, right? In worshiping God. If I could get, just raise your hand, just something quick. What is the most interesting place or most difficult place that you have ever worshiped God in before? Go ahead. A bar. Yeah, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. In the back, yep. Yep. I'm sorry. On a beach. On a beach, that's got to be beautiful, especially if it's like a sunrise service. That's a beautiful thing. What else? Who else? Yep.
Underground house church.
Underground house church. Wow. That sounds intense. That sounds awesome. Well, please turn to Exodus chapter 33. I think we're used to worshiping in difficult circumstances at times. This isn't the first time that the auditorium has been taken away from us, from what I understand. I wasn't here for that. But we've had to move places and we've had to move around, so it's not as if it's new to us. But I want to look at unique worship today. And just God's thinking in unique worship. And how through the entire Bible, from the beginning, from the time of Abraham and Moses, to our time today, where we worship, the location of worship, where God dwells within us and amongst us, is a theme in the Bible that is made complete through Jesus Christ. In Exodus chapter 33, starting in verse 7, it says, "Now Moses used to take a tent and pitch it outside the camp some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp, and whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrances to their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent. As Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance, while the Lord spoke with Moses. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped, each at the entrance to his tent." And now we know that the Bible tells us that at night it was a pillar of fire, and during the day it was a cloud. But how epic would that have been? How incredible of a worship time would that have been, to see a pillar of fire come down, for the entire Israelite community to be worshiping together outside of their tents. It sounds awesome, but there's always reason to complain, isn't there? We can always find a reason, no matter how great the situation, no matter how beautiful the place, and as we're even looking for new places to go into and new facilities, there's always going to be something we can complain about. And that's true in our lives as well as it is within the church and in worship. I mean, they didn't complain about different things like, it says they pitched a tent. Well, who exactly pitched that ginormous tent big enough to hold the Spirit of the Lord? Who was in charge? And we have setup, right? I mean, today the setup is a lot different than it normally is. And we can say, oh, well, the setup is so difficult. And, we've had to move our stuff out of our cubbies and into a storage facility. And that requires renting a truck. And it's a lot of work. There's a lot of things we can complain about. Why, they could have asked themselves, okay, Lord, this is great and all, but why a pillar of fire? Why not a cool breeze? We are in the desert, and it is blazing hot out here. They could have complained about that. You're almighty. Why? Why not some cool air? Why didn't you invent AC? We're your chosen people, aren't we? But they didn't do that. At least not that we know of. You know, if it was at night, they could have been tired. It could have been a really long day of farming or going out or traveling. You know, in Gainesville, Florida, we had Sunday service at 4 p.m. Now, I remember thinking that when I was inviting people to church, that would be a great selling point. Like, listen, college students who like to sleep and can sometimes be lazy, including myself. I was a college student. Church starts at 4, so you have time to sleep in. But man, if you don't want God, you can make an excuse for anything. It doesn't matter how much God accommodates us. It is about our hearts. It is about how much we love Him and how much we love each other. You know, they could have complained, there's no child care. It's very difficult to worship with little Timmy and little Johnny and little, I don't know the girl's name. It's very difficult. We need some child care. If it's at night, they're trying to sleep. That's a really big nightlight to have in front of you when they were there at night. And so, for me, the most interesting place that I've ever worshiped God in, and where I had to check my heart, but it was very easy to do so, and I was able to do so very quick, was I was in the Dominican Republic. I'm Dominican, and I went there for the summer, and I was invited to a Bible talk, a campus Bible talk, and I was very excited to go. I had enjoyed the Sunday service, and we got there, and it was at a park, so I was really excited about that. I dressed similar to how I'm dressed now. And it wasn't just a park. It was a park that had turned into a dumpster. The neighboring houses had thrown all of their garbage there. There was an overflow in wherever they normally threw their garbage. And so for years, this park had collected garbage. You could smell it. You could see it. But man, when I got there, that very quickly left my mind. Because the joy of the disciples was unquestionable. Their snacks, and on campus we have the luxury of, because we have a group on campus in NYU, we have money, so we get to buy food. Insomnia cookies, if you haven't tried it, try it, it's delicious. Tons of food catered to us, and we use that. There's free food, and people are like, free food, I'm coming. And it's fantastic. At this Bible talk, they had bread and watered down chocolate milk. That's all they had. And they loved every second of it. Because it was about God. And it was about one another. It wasn't about the location. We are, if you want to title this sermonette or Sermunion, is that what you called it? I was in the back. Call it makeshift followers. Because that's what we are. And that's what the Israelites were. They were makeshift followers. They had tents, they had cattle, they had their kids. They were moving here, they were moving there, back and forth. And that's what we are. That's what we might be for the rest of the summer, guys. We might be here, we might be there, we might be in another school, we'll be in a park on August 5th, which that'll be fantastic. But we're makeshift followers. And the Bible is filled with them. Abraham was a makeshift follower. Jacob, Joseph, the Israelites, as we're seeing. David and his mighty men lived in the caves for so long. John the Baptist lived in caves. Paul was a tent maker. Definitely a makeshift follower. Jesus himself, probably the greatest example that we've seen. He himself says that the Son of Man has no place to rest his head. God himself was a makeshift follower. In Exodus 40, don't turn there. In verse 34 it says, "Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled upon it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. In all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted." We serve a God who's on the go. And as New Yorkers, being makeshift followers shouldn't be that difficult for us, because our houses are probably makeshift everything. Your desk also serves as a drawer, also serves as a dining room table, also serves as a quiet time table, also serves as everything else that you could possibly be. Your kids play with their toys there. I mean, we're makeshift followers just off of our own nature. That's what we are. But we serve a God who's on the go.